It can be so daunting to look straight in the face of the problems that we have today, and it can be tempting to look away. What gives me hope is working with the grassroots leaders at Liberty Hill Funds who face impossible odds. These folks, they know in their hearts that they are powerful. They deserve dignity, love, opportunity, and they fight back.
Almost 7 years ago, I was facing an eviction from a large corporate landlord because I had been illegally foreclosed. I was never expecting anyone to come at my door and knock and tell me, "We just bought your home at an auction." I was in the darkest moments ever of my life with the uncertainty, the instability, not knowing where to turn to. And when I started hearing victory stories, of course it gave me hope. Once I started coming to the meetings and learning more and how everyone was supporting others, that gave me a sense of I'm not alone.
This moment demands that organizations like ACE and other tenant movement organizations answer the call to organize to keep those folks in their homes, to protect those folks that are in low-income units, so that we truly could have diverse communities.
I was finally able to win after 6 long years of eviction because ACE never let me alone. Almost 7 years, continuous dedication and not giving up. Because the only way we're going to be able to maintain a roof over our home is uniting.
The transformation of Silvia from homeowner to one of the leading tenant advocates in LA is a really beautiful story of somebody who was determined with every ounce of her being to fight to make sure that her home and family stayed in the shelter that they've lived in forever.
I myself, I'm now in the board of a community land trust because I want to do a lot more for others as well.
And they figure out how to change policies that don't only help them, but help hundreds of thousands of other people.
Donor activism for me is really getting involved in community, so it moves beyond writing a check, and it forces you to develop an understanding about the issues that you're helping to solve.
In 2017, my wife, Susan Watanabe, who cared very deeply about Liberty Hill, learned that she had a brain tumor. And in the ensuing months, our friends set up a fund in her honor called Susan's Circle. And for her to be able to see that and to know that that was going to happen after she passed was so meaningful for her and for our family, and allowed us to make a direct contribution to these great people out here doing this great activist work. And none of that would have been possible without Liberty Hill.
Wilmington sits adjacent to the third largest oil field in the nation. The city's regulation for oil drilling is more than 100 years old and it hasn't changed. And you see, that's a problem.
Having asthma isn't normal. Your family members getting cancer, bronchitis isn't normal. These oil drilling sites cause birth defects, headaches, nosebleeds, cancer. No one should ever be facing any of those. And so we think it's really important that we need to implement that 2,500 foot safety buffer between homes and schools.
In 2015, CBE youth sued the city of LA for rubber stamping permits for oil drilling sites. This became known as the Youth EJ lawsuit, and this case wasn't like many others because it was the first time Black and brown youth served the city of LA for disproportionately impacting communities of color.
We won, and we created a new public process and guidelines for oil drilling.
The young people are what keep me motivated to continue this work in the movement. I want to ensure that our movements are places in which we honor and center the youth leaders.
My generation is the generation that will be affected most by climate change because we won't have a future without this change that we're advocating for.
We do this not because we want to, but because we have to, because our lives depend on it.
We sit in a particularly dark period. But it's in dark times that we remember who we are as progressives and as activists and find a way to tap into our power. And I'm very optimistic about Liberty Hill's role in that process.
The coronavirus has kind of created this situation where people see, oh, we're all connected in this together, and if I don't do something to help this group of people who are on the streets or living in their cars, then I'm actually hurting myself as well.
The progressive movement in Los Angeles is on fire, and I believe we will fight for a roof over every head, end neighborhood oil drilling, and end youth incarceration as we know it. And we're gonna build a powerful base of everyday Angelenos who will never again let somebody tell them that they don't matter or that they don't have power, because they do.